This episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by HostGator. Today on TRS, Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law are back in Sherlock Holmes, a Game of Shadows.
And welcome to the Totally Rad Show for the first of 2012, which is very nice.
Yeah, Happy New Year!
Today, we are finally getting our review of Sherlock Holmes 2 Game of Shadows, which is very nice.
That's right. And then tomorrow we're taking a look at a gadget. We got another gadget review for you. This time it is the Sony HD
3D
headset.
Yeah.
You're going to want to see this. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday we review the video game Terraria.
Hey.
Terraria.
Thursday, we are back with board games. We're going to be talking about Dungeon Run.
Ooh. And then Friday, we're wrapping things up with a versus where two movies enter and two movies and a baby leave.
Yep.
I stole that from Saturday Night Live.
Amazing. Speaking of amazing, we're doing Game of Shadows. This may just look like your average, it's a little Game of Shadows background, but you don't even know the half of what you're about to witness.
I think we should show them a half of it.
We should show you the half of that. So, unbelievable intro.
That's badass.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Awesome.
That's from Stefan Shivachev.
Which is, if you're stuck in prison with Chev, that's what you do.
So you do, Shivachev.
So
let's get into the
for
show.
sending that in. If you want to
Shall
send in
we?
your background, fans at TotallyRadShow.com is where you send it.
TotallyRadShow.com.
Buy shirts, jinx.com, this is TRS. Today in movies, we are talking about Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, the sequel to the smash hit from a couple years ago that was the relaunch, the reboot, the reimagining, really, of Sherlock Holmes from the mind of Guy Ritchie and Robert Downey Jr. This time around, Sherlock and Watson are pitted against the arch enemy, the famous arch enemy of Sherlock Holmes from all of his stories, Moriarty.
Teased in the first film.
Teased by the ending of the first film. So it's also marks the American debut of Noomi Rapace, who was in the Swedish Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and we will see very soon in the Ridley Scott Alien quote unquote prequel Prometheus.
Nice.
She's the new hotness, kind of.
We'll see. I don't know.
She's new.
This is step 1, and then step 2, Ridley, and then
Step 3.
The world!
we'll find out. So I don't remember, Alex, what you thought of the first Sherlock Holmes.
Because we didn't review it.
Right.
That's probably why you don't remember.
Yeah.
I loved the first one. Loved it. Yeah. I was all in. I mean,
So
got
what did
Wing Chun up in the Miznatch.
Right.
So all that stuff is great.
So what did you think of the sequel?
The sequel starts off, and I got a little bit of an uh-oh feeling, because it started off, and I felt like sometimes what sequels do is the thing that I remember really loving about the original was the sort of, weird way that Sherlock Holmes is, the sort of caricature that he becomes. And it's full front and center. I mean, it's almost like they took every little beat that I remember enjoying, the one beat in the first movie, and shoved them all into the first 5-10 minutes of this movie. And I got a really big uh-oh feeling that the whole movie was just going to be the same constant beat that I loved when it happened once in the first film, over and over and over and over again in this film.
And did that come to fruition?
Nope, totally stated. Okay. Love this movie. Love this movie. I had to get through that first 5 minutes.
Good thing we talked about it.
Yeah, I had to get through that. But I mean, so when you go see this movie, you may go, I'm so worried about where this is going. It ends up being, an amazing. The end of first off, the sequence in the woods, it may be one of the coolest action sequences I've seen. Period. I mean, it was so crazily well shot. I mean, the way that they shot it, the way the action was choreographed, the trees and the way that they sort of showed this sort of skinny shadow that they used in the original one was so magnified by just flying by these trees that were so, symmetrical.
It's not really an action sequence.
Awesome.
It's like...
That's not an action sequence?
No, it's not. There's no sequence. Tell me what happens in that sequence. People shoot at other people. That's it. There's no sequence.
Well, but you
That
could
yeah.
sum up some other things.
The
that way,
definition
too.
of action sequence is a sequence where action happens, and all that happened in that sequence was action. Nobody talked. You know what I mean?
but
That
okay.
was an action sequence. It may not have been an action set piece where things other than people running from that's an action set piece. You hang your hat on that set piece in the script. Anyway, that was amazing. One of the best, if not the best, action sequences I've seen. I wanted to watch that for 10 hours. Just sit and watch people run from bullets.
Oh, there's a lot of slow motion, so that...
I know.
You probably could have seen
probably was
the
about
dailies
5
probably
minutes.
lasted...
Yeah. So that was unbelievable. I really dug the story. I don't know if I would say that the story was... It was a little bit less, Deus Ex Machina than the first one. The first one was sort of like all this stuff is happening, and then he's like, here's all the stuff that you saw in the movie that you didn't realize what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And they did a little bit of that, enough
Yeah.
of that to sort of sate the kind of fun Sherlock Holmesiness of it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as intense as the other one. You know what I mean? Where you got that sort of Harry Potter-esque, like, oh yeah, that movie you thought you were seeing, that's not at all what was happening. With this one, you kind of get pieces of that, which I really loved.
Interesting.
The ending, though I think they then went to the sort of Hollywood catharsis at the end, I thought it was going to end right as Watson came out, and I was like, if this shit ends here, this is the best movie I've ever seen. Like, you can't, it was awesome. I mean, that moment, I was in, had a blast, it was great. I mean, they didn't end it that way.
Right. But you liked how it ended also, or?
No, not as much,
Okay,
but it was
alright.
okay. But I really enjoyed the ride.
Yes. Jeff, I also don't remember. I just remember you not liking that they didn't have the hat and
The pipe.
pipe.
Remember you
I
saying
in the
that?
first Sherlock
I didn't
Holmes.
love the first movie. I thought it was a competent action adventure, but I didn't love the take on the character. And I feel the same thing about this one. I think this movie is better than the first movie in a lot of ways. But we are squarely in action adventure land. This is a superhero whose superpower happens to be that he can see the future. That's their take on Sherlock Holmes, especially in this one where we lose the kind of cool explanation of why he can see the future, and it's just he sees the future. And I say that in a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's kind of true in the sense that his deduction, the way it is explained, or a way that it is portrayed in this film, is more like, I'm not deducing anything based on what's happening, I'm just sort of meditating and seeing what is going to happen. Which to me is not as fun as other takes on Sherlock Holmes, and especially when we have Sherlock, the BBC series, that I find to be a spectacular take on the character, and as much, I prefer it in every single sense to this film version. It's just, I enjoy the Cumberbatch take on the character. I enjoy the level of cerebral attack on a problem rather than a physical or action-packed attack on a problem. And there's some, as you said, some fun set pieces. I really like the Cossack fight, which is it could be yanked out of any action movie of the summer. It is parkour and fisticuffs and that stuff is well shot and fun, and I specifically like the slow-mo stuff. It's exciting, but it's not the take on this particular character that I get excited about. That said, I agree with you that the ending, it finally gets to that wonderful chess match, both literally and figuratively, between the two main characters, or the antagonist and protagonist, and that is very satisfying and very fun, and you feel like, yeah, one feels like he's 2 steps ahead and the other feels like he's 2 steps ahead, and how that is dramatized and how it is fulfilled is really fun and really clever and smart and has wonderful payoffs. I just wish the rest of the movie felt like that. I just wish that there was more of that in this movie, because there's very little of that until the end. And I mean, it's not even really set in London, barely. We're globe-trotting. It's much more trying to be that big action set piece film, and it succeeds, but it's just not what I'm looking for out of this particular character.
Well, I loved it. I loved the first one, and I loved this one too. I think it's firing on almost every cylinder. I feel like I love the choreography of the physical action scenes. I also loved the way some of them were shot. I just love that it not only is the details of the scenes, the actual hand-to-hand choreography, really fun and exciting and well done, but also we have scenes that are shot in a very fun, stylistic way. And then also we have they're like the production design and the set, like they're really movie really works on every single level except for me the mystery. Right. Whereas the first one had a great hook to its mystery and really all great a great mystery setup is, for instance, 5 people are inside a room and they're all dead, but the room has no windows, no doors, so immediately you're like, well, how could that happen? And you're watching, how did that happen? This doesn't really have any stakes, any threat, any hook inside the mystery. It's much more like an action movie plot where there's a villain who has an overall plan and we're trying to figure out. It's not really a mystery story. It's just it's more of that standard action movie plot device stuff. So that was just the one area that this felt a little bit less than from the first movie. I also loved that the first film, the mystery was rooted. It felt supernatural. Yeah, It kind of had that Raiders of the Lost Ark vibe in the first movie. This took all the globetrotting from the Indiana Jones movies, but not that supernaturally element that made the mystery even more interesting because it wasn't supernatural. It was physical. In the first movie,
historical and political in this one.
It's much more historical and political. Yeah, but unnecessarily so. Just sort of like. I would have done with one less action sequence for...
Which one?
Less, I know. I mean, it's
Not
tough.
the Woods.
It's tough.
Not the Woods.
It's tough. Woods was awesome. All of them were really great, especially on their own. But and I also felt like...
Maybe the train.
I also felt... No, I actually love the train, yeah.
The train was cool.
I felt like Noomi Rapace, her character, she plays a gypsy, and that should have been... It should have been Leo Getz in Lethal Weapon. We have Berton and Riggs, and now we had this new element that's funny, and they're beating off of it, and there was no chemistry there, and there wasn't.
She's underutilized. There's no role for her, and it's so strange too because we have a character from the first film in this movie, but is removed rather ignominiously, and I feel like why was she here?
I didn't even get. I'm sensing a little last minute.
Yeah.
Not script, not all the way there. Contracts, whatever, figuring out. I'm sensing, have no idea. But it felt that way. It felt very odd.
And the other thing is,
Sherlock senses.
But that was the other thing about the beginning that I didn't like was that if she was really doing what she's doing in the beginning, there would be no flirty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No flirty when you're doing that at all. Because she was sort of gray in the first story. It was sort of like, oh, was she working both sides? Maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was. Is she sort of like on her own? But in this one, it was squarely defined who she was. You know what it is? And I didn't enjoy that relationship anymore. So I was happy to see her go.
I just say the merit of this action movie is it's so clever. Yeah. It's not just cool. It's not, like I said, it's not just cool choreography, though that's there. It's not just awesome, stylish spectacle, though that's there. Yeah. But all the ideas inside the action scenes are really clever. There's people who are in peril that have clever ways of coming out away from that, solving that. It's just all really fun. Even like
cannon.
little, it's all
I just wish, especially
clever.
in light of how well the Sherlock television series did it, I wish that first meeting of Moriarty and Sherlock felt more electric. And because it does in this TV series.
It did to me.
The first meeting not being the end.
No, the first moment where
That felt electric to me.
Oh, there's some interesting elements there.
Because in the TV series, it's just so powerful. Then
I actually, but the TV series to me always felt we're like flip flopped on it because TV series I felt like he is just superhero. Yeah. And he's like, how does he know all those things? So he says them, but it felt.
No, there's like a 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4. This one is just There's none of that.
This showed all those things. It showed the same things, but it took out the explanation that to me whenever on that show he would explain it. I always felt like, but that's like it makes it more almost superhero-esque to me. More
either
not
way.
real. Yeah.
Hell of an action movie.
Very competent action film. Yeah. And I think people will get their money's worth.
Sometimes sequels are hard to do.
Yeah.
it missed the mark in some areas that the first one did. And once again, I think we're all humming it.
The great
Fantastic score.
Oh.
One of the most unique scores of the century. It's true. Think about it.
All right, be sure to stick around. We're going to be answering one of your Twitter questions right after this. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, HostGator. HostGator can get your blog or website up and running in just minutes with plans starting at just $3.96 a month. You get 24/7 support, access to website building tools with over 4,000 templates. That's a lot of templates. They'll even migrate your current site over for free. Not only that, the servers are powered by 130% wind energy, which means they give wind energy back to the wind.
Future.
They send it
Back
to the
the
wind.
future.
They're like, blow. You blow us, I blow you. Okay.
That's always polite to do.
Unlimited disk space and bandwidth, 45-day money-back guarantee, plus you get $100 Google AdWords credit to market your site. And for Revision 3 viewers, which you are, HostGator is offering 25% off your order, or your first month is completely free. Just go to HostGator.com and enter the code Totally Rad Show at checkout. Amaze great.
It is Amaze great. Hey, we got new shirts and stuff.
We did. That
for the
is
new
Amaze
year,
great.
don't we? Dan, tell them about it.
Jinx.com/TRS, 2 new t-shirts, 2 new hoodies.
They're flying off
They're
the shelves.
awesome.
They are.
Flying off the
And they're
shelves.
flying, so get them.
Yeah. Hoo-ha.
Join us tomorrow for our look at the Sony 3D personal headset.
Today's Twitter question comes to us from @SamLawson. If you could wear a TV, film, or comic book costume for a day, which one would you choose? Dan Trachtenberg.
There's really no contest. I think any guy's lying if he doesn't want to wear the Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall costume. Just to know what that's like for a day.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you would
His
look
character.
exactly like Brad Pitt?
That character. I don't know his name.
His costume is just like a shirt
Yeah,
and
his
pants.
costume is like
No, but
yeah,
I'm wearing
jacket and-
I'm being that character.
That's not what
No,
he asked.
he's
He
saying
said his
wear
costume.
a costume.
Yeah, I'm just wearing a shirt and pants. I just want to know what it's like to wear.
Just want to grow
wear
your
the
hair
loose-
out and
The
then.
loosely flirted shirt. What about you, Jeff?
That's hilarious.
Legend of the Fall? We're all
yeah,
gonna,
we would all
clearly
be
we would all
lying if
be
we weren't going to say we want to.
Legend of the
shirt
Fall.
and pants.
Mine's Brad Pitt from Moneyball. I don't know what.
I was taking comfort out of the equation.
Oh, okay.
And saying Iron Man
Yeah.
is pretty rad.
Yeah.
He's probably really comfortable in there. He's probably got like Tempur-Pedic cushions in between.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be hot and stuffy, and I would feel claustrophobic.
Yeah.
He's not discomforting himself.
You're mispronouncing costume for real recreation of the thing that actually happens in the movie.
Yeah, he's
He's
getting
getting the costume that they used on
Yeah.
set.
Oh, not
Yeah.
the character.
No.
I think it would be cool to like be in that for a second, but
Yeah.
it's not. You're not becoming that guy.
No.
At least that's the spirit of the question I didn't take.
No,
Mine
you're
is-
becoming that, but you would be Iron Man's costume.
No, the costume from the thing. I would say Han Solo's costume because I've always wanted
I
to have
did
that
that.
kind of like those pants, the blaze, the thing.
I did that.
It would be
We
nice.
went to
Yeah, but
Star
the actual
Celebration.
costume. No.
Oh, you're like
Yeah,
Harrison
like
Ford
that,
wore
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Like it has Harrison Ford sweat on
Yeah.
it?
Or that it has
Yeah.
Han Solo's sweat in it. That is what I.
We understand what you think the question means. Thank you, @SamLawson.